Yesterday, we were talking a little bit about the request somebody had made to speak about the mass shootings that have happened, and so I talked a little bit about being sad about them and also being angry. And so today I thought about being afraid, which is also an emotional response that we could have when these things happen. And yesterday at medicine meal time, Dani and I were talking, and she was saying how when she first came to the States, she didn't want to be left alone in front of the supermarket waiting for somebody, because she had heard about all these kind of violent things and all these people carrying concealed weapons legally, and it made her afraid. And it made me very sad, because I thought, the United States used to have this image abroad of being a country of freedom and prosperity and liberty, and now it seems that abroad we're coming to have the image of being, a violent place with free-for-all guns, And I thought that was very sad, that kind of image is starting to happen. What to do. But, when you think about it, I don't think we need to have that kind of level of fear. We just have to go about living our lives. Now, of course, somebody could say, but, the people who went to the movie theater, that's what they were doing, and look what happened. But the thing is, it's like we go about living our lives every day, and then things may happen on one day that we didn't expect. People get into car accidents, but just because the car can be dangerous doesn't mean that somebody never drives in one. And, there are plane crashes, but just because they're dangerous, it doesn't mean you don't get into planes. So it's, I think we have to continue to go through our lives with just, to not let our minds become anxious and burdened with unnecessary fear, because all sorts of things, of course, could happen. But when we generate fear and worry and anxiety, those things become, I think, a greater suffering to us in the long run than even the things we're afraid of, which are highly unlikely to happen. Yeah, and so I think we have to keep, an optimistic mind and a peaceful mind, and, it's not like in front of every grocery store there's going to come...
It changed, by the way. It was only in the beginning of coming here.
Oh, so once you were here for a while, that feeling changed?
Now I can stand in front of
Okay, now you can stand in front of the grocery store. Okay, that's good. I think, we were talking last night that sometimes, feelings of fear come when we're in a new place and we've only heard of the stereotypes, from television or whatever. And also just being in a new place, it's unfamiliar, and so we're like a little bit anxious about everything. But really, even for those of us who live here a long time, not letting our minds go into some kind of fearful place, but maintaining an attitude that greets people with happiness and joy and trust and so on and so forth. So I think that's quite important, rather than let the mind fabricate a lot of things that just, are highly unlikely. And then the other thing we're talking about, that another feeling that could happen, is just total apathy and numbness. In other words, here's another mass shooting. Well, nothing I can do. Thank goodness it wasn't me or anybody I know, and it's just too difficult to think about this. So let's turn on the television to another channel, or let's pretend this was a movie, instead of reality, or let's take a drink or smoke a joint or go dancing or do something else and just make our minds numb. Yeah, and I don't think that's a solution at all to deal with fear and anxiety or sadness or anger, you know. And I think a way for Buddhist practitioners to remain connected in those kinds of situations is to really do the taking and giving practice, you know, where we're really taking the suffering of the victims and the perpetrators, giving them our body, possessions, and merit, and imagining that they all get the conducive inner and outer conditions to practice the Dharma and become Buddhas, and really doing that meditation so we stay connected to other people and not just devolve into kind of numb resignation that, it seems like apathy, but underneath there's anger and fear and a lot of other uncomfortable emotions. And after the Colorado shooting, in the theater, I received something that somebody had wrote. I'm not sure who, but they were saying, okay, there was the anger and craziness of that shooting, but there was also so much love and care involved too, because you had the love and care of the police who came in and the SWAT teams that came in, of the different people in the cinema who protected others and sometimes lost their own life in the process of it, or who dragged injured people out and got them to the hospital and medical care. And then there was the kindness of all the doctors and nurses in the hospitals. There was the kindness, kind of an overwhelming feeling of love and compassion coming out from other people in that very community, as well as from people across the country. And the conclusion was that, you might have one person or a few people with this kind of intense anger, but if you look in the big picture, the response to the violence really brought out incredible love and compassion and kindness and care from a huge number of living beings. And so it's very important to remember that and not just dwell on, the tremendous confusion and pain and anger of the person who did the action, but to really think of the kindness of everybody else who steps up to the plate and helps remedy the situation and care for others. Okay, so I think these are just some tools to use in a real life Dharma happening, isn't it? Yeah, and so to not just allow habitual emotions to arise and take over, but to really stop and look at those emotions and question them and question, are they realistic? Are they beneficial? And when we see that they aren't, then to look and to see the kindness and to remember to do the taking and giving meditation. And so in this way, transform our emotional reaction into something that will create good on the planet and harmony amongst people. So that's our job. Mm-hmm.
So you can do it also ahead, right? So like you kind of before something like this happens. Like I shared once with the community a story about a woman from the Red Cross who had to go to Afghanistan, and she had a group of people with whom she meditated about loving kindness, and then she got a call that there's a person, a man on the place, setting himself, he had a bomb on his body, and he wanted to kill the people around him who were working there doing their business. And then she got this call and she told her people, her group, you stay here and do this meditation and I go and do my business. And then she went on with doing this loving kindness meditation while she was walking toward this person.
Mm-hmm.
And then she reached this person and he let go of doing this action, and then they asked him, what what's going on? And he said he saw this woman and he felt a lot of love and kindness, and he reminds himself of his mother, and he couldn't do it anymore.
Wow. Wow. That's a very, very nice story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is that going to come out? It'll might not. Okay. So you read it in.
No, I heard it. It's a person who is from Germany.
Okay.
He had to go to Afghanistan.
Okay. Well, here, come and tell the story into here so people
Oh.
can hear. Come on. No, sit down here so you can hear.
A tutor from the Tibetan Center in Hamburg told me the story. He heard it from a student he had in his class, that she had to go with the Red Cross to work in Afghanistan, and she had a group of people who supported her to do their work there, and she was practicing loving kindness meditation, and then she got a call, and they told her that there's a person on the marketplace who wants to set himself, who wants to kill himself and kill other people too. He had a bomb on his body. And then she said to the group, yeah, you stay here and you go on with loving kindness meditation, doing it. And she went to the marketplace and went toward this person, and she had in her mind still going on this meditation, kind of loving kindness meditation. And then he saw her, and she could reach this person, and he stopped doing this action, so he let go, letting his hand down, and then she or somebody else asked him what was going on, and he said he couldn't do it anymore. He felt so much love and compassion, and he reminded himself of his mother. So he stopped this action probably through this kind of meditation. So the power of loving kindness is incredible ahead, so we don't have to wait until somebody is doing or planning this kind of action. We can do it much more ahead in our daily life. That's what I want to share.
Good. Thank you. Okay, good. Okay, yeah?
Did you, I missed the first part, I'm sorry, but did you talk about this community in Spokane, the for Weather-based thing, how they're having that?
Yeah, so another way that you know people really rise to the occasion and express their love and compassion is we got a letter from the Sikh community in Spokane, a very positive letter, just really saying that they weren't going to be angry and hateful and vengeful about this at all, and inviting everybody to come for a vegetarian meal and a candlelight vigil actually tonight. So, yeah, at their temple, yeah. So we're seeing if some of our friends are in Spokane can go and represent the Abbey.